Congress can always change the law if you want, but I'm telling you,
Mr.
while I have the
Secretary, let me
authority,
be
I will
clear.
continue to revoke the visas of these people that come here to tear
You
this
said that,
country
Mr. Secretary.
apart because
Let me
they're on
reclaim
student
my
visas, they're
time
guests.
because
Jayapal thought that she had Rubio cornered. Then he flipped the entire hearing.
the revocation of a student visa for Rumeysa Öztürk, a Turkish citizen who is a graduate student at Tufts University, apparently simply for writing an op-ed. According to an internal State Department memo, you took this action under your discretionary authority to revoke visas, and soon after you revoked her visa, armed and masked plainclothes officers snatched Ms. Öztürk off the street and transported her to a prison in Louisiana. Mr. Secretary, do you really think that Ms. Öztürk's op-ed results in a foreign policy consequence for the United States?
I believe that case involves someone whose visa we never would have granted had we known ahead of time.
I'm not asking you that question. I'm asking you if you think an op-ed, but that's exactly, in fact, what happened. The State Department wrote a memo concluding that you did not have sufficient grounds to revoke Ms. Öztürk's visa. There was no evidence showing that she'd engaged in any activities or a threat to national security. And in fact, in May, a federal court ordered Ms. Öztürk's release from detention, noting that the sole basis for the government's detention appeared to be the fact that she co-authored this opinion piece in the Tufts newspaper in March of 2024. Where in the Constitution does it say that the Secretary of State can override the First Amendment protections of free speech?
Guys, this is why we are in the situation that we are in, like politically, culturally, completely here. Like the idea of you being in this country, we're basically putting out an olive branch, allowing you to stay here. Okay. Understand this here. And then you start getting all over social media and start bad mouthing the United States of America while you're here on a tourist visa or some type of like school visa. Guys, no, thank you. It's time for you to go too, bro. Sorry. Nope. Not happening here. Under no circumstance should we allow people in this country who hate this country. Okay. And they hate the country because it's cool to hate the country with their friend group, guys. That's it here. If they hated this country so much, they would be back in their country that they just literally ran from and or refused to be educated in. Why are you choosing to be educated here? We're such a bad place but filled with bad people, right? Guys, come on. This is clown world.
There's no constitutional right to a student visa.
So, but is there a constitutional right? Does it say somewhere that Marco Rubio gets to determine which speech is appropriate and revoke student visas based on what you think constitutes free speech?
There's a statute that says the Secretary of State gets to determine whether someone is a threat. We deny visas every day all over the world.
Do you think that the Immigration and Nationality Act trumps the Constitution of the United States, Mr. Secretary?
Well, Congress can always change the law if you want, but I'm telling you,
Mr. Secretary,
while I have the authority, I will continue to revoke the visas of these people that come here to tear this country apart.
You said that, Mr. Secretary. Let me reclaim my time because you are talking about revoking student visas based on what somebody says. And that means that you are trumping the legal Supreme Court, the supreme law of the land, which is the Constitution of the United States.
No one has a right to a student visa.
Mr. Rubio, why did the administration need to use masked, armed, unidentified agents to whisk somebody off the street and deny her counsel for almost 24 hours after her arrest?
Well, you'll have to ask the agencies that did that work. I'm not responsible. That I'm responsible for revoking the visas of these people that come to tear this country apart.
I'm talking about this particular case where you revoked the student visa of a Turkish citizen who was a graduate student who wrote an op-ed that you didn't like. And suddenly you allowed for masked men to whisk her off the street. And you have multiple jobs, apparently. You're the national security advisor as well. So don't tell me it's not your job. Who snatches her off the street?
We don't do the snatching.
I think it bothers her more that it was a woman than anything else. That's kind of how I'm taking that. But it could just be me. Let me know.
But I can tell you, we do the visa revocations.
Let me ask you about the national security consequences of people, masked men on the streets, snatching people off the streets. If these are legitimate law enforcement agents carrying out proper arrests, why are they hiding their identities?
Because then radical crazies will try to hurt them.
So you think that U.S. agents who have almost always gone without face coverings, even when they're arresting some of the country's most dangerous criminals, suddenly have so much to fear from a graduate student who wrote an op-ed that they need to be masked?
Again,
Is that
law
accurate?
student was a guest in the United States on a student visa. No one's entitled to a student visa.
So you revoked her
visas every
student
day,
visa
and we will revoke and
based
continue
on
to
an
revoke
op-ed,
visas.
which trumps the supreme law of the land, which is the Constitution.
Someone's coming up
You
here to stir up problems on our campus. We're going to revoke their visa.
She didn't
They're
do any of
guests.
that. She wrote an op-ed. She wrote an op-ed, and I'm talking to you about her particular case.
Claims and your claims. Those are not the facts.
You reclaiming my time. You revoked her student visa because she wrote an op-ed.
Would you revoke? We're going to do more.
I have another question for you. Would you revoke the visa of someone in the United States who published claims that, quote, Jews are an untrustworthy and dangerous group? Yes or no?
We will revoke the visa of anyone who's in this country as a guest who's here to stir up trouble.
Are you going to revoke the visa of somebody who made that?
The case, I'll look at it. I'm looking to get crazy people out of our
country. It's not just about revoking. You actually, Secretary Rubio, excuse me, reclaiming my time. Can you explain to me why the Trump administration granted refugee status to Charles Kleinhaus, the white Afrikaner who tweeted that exact statement that I just said? There's the case.
That's not a visa.
You granted that person to enter the United States. That's a totally different process. That's someone that applied here through a totally different process. Secretary Rubio,
visas are a privilege.
Secretary
we deny
Rubio,
them all the time,
you
and we'll
revoked a visa based on an op-ed, and then you allowed for masked men.
Let's start right here, number one here. I don't care what program you use to come into the United States of America, okay? If you come here and then your first act is to basically add toxicity to our nation, I don't care what group you're talking about. Maybe you should listen, bro. I'm sorry. It's time for you to go to. So the person that she referenced, he would have been on the list just like she was on the list. I'm just going to be completely honest here. All right. We don't need any more of that in our country. We have enough of it dealing with each other. Okay. Let's just be completely honest when it comes down to that there. But number one here, let's stick to the point of the actual conversation here. If you are here under a work visa and then you start espousing all type of like anti-American hate, I'm sorry, bro. I'm not sure why our Constitution is even covering these people, bro. Let's just start right there. Listen, I'm absolutely, in fact, a constitutionalist. I love the idea of the United States of America. I love the idea of this great experiment that we've been kind of dealing with for the last like 300 years, guys. I like this thing that we're doing here. I've been all around the world. I've been to 140 countries. And I'm telling you this right now, there is nothing like what we have in the United States of America. And there's a lot of anti-American hate in a lot of these places until they actually come here. I've noticed that that's always kind of the thing here. But either way, that's not the point that I'm kind of talking about here. But if you come here, like if we allow you access to our country and then you start talking all this anti-American stuff, it is time for you to go. I don't care. All right. Like if you are here under a visa, a tourist visa, a work visa, whatever, and then you start publicly espousing that you have just like wild and crazy hate, let's say, for an entire different group of people than you are, you need to go too, bro. Okay, that's how that works here. I don't care which side it goes. I don't care at all here. Do not add more toxicity to the United States of America. We are full. Okay, we are full on that, and we don't need any more of your foreign-based toxicity into our country. I'm sorry, that doesn't make any sense to me, guys. Like we need to start working on ourselves just a little bit more here, bro. I'm telling you, I like reading between the lines here. All right, so when I hear people speak, and then I start noticing trends and patterns in their speech, I'm kind of like, you really want us to know that was a woman. And then every time she spoke about the bad people, it was always the men, masked men. There are women who work for ICE, but I'm guessing she doesn't regard them as anything more than men, because in her common typical Democrat lingo, when she sits down at the table with all the other anti-men type of people, they speak like this. The bad man, right? These bad men, etc. Right? That's just kind of the energy I get from the Democrat Party in 2026 here. But again, this is just my opinion. I mean, you could obviously have your own separate opinion, separate than mine, and that's completely fine with me. But guys, we can go ahead and close it out here, but just understand this here. If you come to this country and we're hosting you and you start talking crazy about our country, what are you expecting for the masses to basically say here? All right. Like, what are you expecting here? Yes, you can stay. Thank you. Nah, bro, it's time for you to go. Go back to if our country is so bad, go back to the country you ran from. Oh, okay. But either way, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. If you guys are new here, please like and subscribe. And in the meantime, guys, I'll go and catch you guys later.